Welcome back to the Play It Down Sports Podcast, episode 20. We're mixing things up a little bit and kicking things off with the Westgate Super College Contest, as we are still holding down the numero uno spot. Then we have another round of Boneheaded Clueless Actions of the week, followed by a brief look at the Worldwide Technology Championship in Mexico. And then it's on to our college and pro picks as we look at week 11 and week 10, respectively. We are also just about at the halfway point of the NFL season, so we're going to check in on some playoff hopes, see whose dreams are dying, and who can still get to the promised land. We're also going to take our first look at the college basketball season. Jonesy is going to give us some thoughts and wrap things up. Remember to always bet responsibly. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Play It Down Golf for all of our picks. You can also catch us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Make sure you like and follow us. Grab your beverage of choice and let's play it down. Well, another week is in the books, Jonesy. What are you drinking?
Well, we've got a Merlot tonight, a Wolfson Merlot. I basically order this wine club. This is the brand name, Wolfson. And it's and I've had it before. In fact, I think on this show we talked about it. And this is the Merlot. Maybe the last one was a cab, and really good stuff for very cheap pricing. I mean, by cheap, I mean you're paying $10 to $15 for a bottle. Right. It's not like the $5 specials, but good quality wine through Wine Club. So very happy with it and enjoying it.
I got the Stella back in action.
You got La Bianca Chalice back in play tonight.
I got the Chalice back in play. Right there. I noticed you have a lovely hat on.
So this hat, yes, this hat is a Westgate hat. It's basically a casino sports book out in Las Vegas, and it's one of the two sports books for which we entered contests this year. Where we hire a proxy service. I showed up in person, entered all our teams, me and two others, Al Big and my buddy Dylan are all in that together. And Circa is where we have the primary contest, but this Westgate contest that you're about ready to show stats on is a college contest with over 1,000 teams in it. You pick 7 games every single week. Any game you want. They give you the lines, and you get the entire slate. We have 3 teams in this. I'm manning one of them, you're manning one of them, and Dylan's manning one of them. And I think when I signed up, this hat came with it, which is basically is the contest college hat that they gave for anyone who had an entry in it. So I'm wearing it tonight and celebrating your awesome performance, where you are the Play It Down number 2. We have Play It Down 1 and 3, which are lower in the standings, but out of over 1,000 teams, this one looks very impressive. And look at that record. I mean, that is an impressive record.
And 21.
And one tie.
Tie.
Now, that is 10 weeks of 7 games per week. So 70 games. You've been able to pick 7 games any week off the slate. And that record is unbelievable. I mean, you are 3 points clear of anybody else. Now, the problem with this bragging is we still have 4 weeks left to pick.
4 weeks left, and so of the top 10 that's on the board. So D Fleming, I was ahead of him last week by 3. Him and I tied this week. We both went 4 and 3. Bear Bets 2. Same. I was up against. I had a 4-point lead on him. He went 5 and 2, or she. And
I'm betting. I think that's Chris Felico. I'm going to go that's Chris Felico from ESPN. I don't know why I think that, but I think that's his nickname, the Bear. So I would not be surprised.
Yeah, could be. Coleman 1 was the only one that made the biggest jump. He had 6, so he picked up 2 on me. But he's still obviously 3.5 points behind me. And then Jared Stacks. He stayed the same. He was 4 and 3. Black and Purple actually stayed the same, 4 and 3. And then the other ones that rounded out, I don't know how they went.
By the way, as impressive as this record looks, it averages 4.5 and 2.5 as a record, which is very impressive in handicapping. but that makes 4-3 a fairly good week. 5-2 an awesome week, and you're averaging about 4.5 wins per week, which is unprecedented in over 70 games.
Yeah.
So let's hope you keep it going, because
4 more weeks.
Yeah.
So pretty much I figued out if we're top 5
I think four more weeks, right?
Four more weeks.
Right.
And I'm looking at the slate this week, and
just keep doing what you're doing. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't matter. You've had a great run, and keep your process the same. Don't overthink it. Right?
I know it's hard. It's hard. So the toughest part, to be honest with you, is Saturdays, from about 12 to 6, because I get so stressed.
Wow. You're so stressed because of your. I don't stress. I'm in 220th place out of 1,000. I don't stress over mine.
I get that. So this weekend is going to probably be the first Saturday I don't even think about it. So I have the hat on. This is the Bryan Bros. It's their logo for their hat and stuff. So they're doing the Bryan Bros Shootout 2025 or 2025 is this weekend in Myrtle Beach. So Sean O'Leary and myself are going down, and we're actually going to participate in the shootout. So, and that's all day Saturday. So at least I might have a little less stress I'll have golf stress on Saturday, but not college football stress, because my picks will be in and I'll just have to look at the results when it's all said and done. But hopefully it's good. That's awesome. We're still here.
And by the way, the Jonesy Open, of which I can't play in, but I have a sub, is the following week now, not this weekend.
Not this weekend. I might still try to make an appearance there, because I assume are you going to try to be there?
I may, depending on how this leg is, and if I can get, if you can get out, like I'm getting around. Well, getting around, you should be able to get there. It's more a matter of like getting around, and you're still in a walker, right? Trying to rehab this leg, right? It's going to take a long time to get this back to where it needs to be.
Well, now, speaking of college contests and college football, we might as well move on into our Boneheaded Clueless Actions of the week. And Boneheaded number 3, making yet another appearance in the program. Good old Dabo.
This is Dumbo. Dumbo, isn't it? Dabo. I don't know why I can't get his name straight. I mean, look at this guy. He's going absolutely nuts on his team, and nobody is paying a bit of attention to him. He looks like the guy.
They don't look interested.
No, they're just walking away, looking down. The other coach is looking down at his thing, and this guy is a lunatic. And that's because he gave up 28 points, including a late touchdown to Duke. And things did not get better for him.
Touchdown,
this is after a tie at 28. We go from he's down 21-7. He gets up 28-21. He's got control of the game, and then his defense gives up a big play, and he just can't contain himself. Doesn't strike anybody, but just the leadership component of this is crazy. Like, I mean, come on, Dabo, Dumbo. You've won a national championship at this school, and this is what you've gone to? Really? I mean, I'd put him at number 1, but his post-game conference was a little bit better this time. And so we kind of
I would agree with that.
It was a little bit better. He's taken some accountability. He did blame the refs like he always does. And by the way, the refs made a horrible call on his team. So in defense of that, it was 45-38, and there was an interference call on 4th down that looked like it was offensive interference on Duke, and instead they called it on Clemson. Duke then goes on to score and then makes a 2-point conversion. It isn't actually a brutal year for Dabo. And the other thing he does that's clueless is keep threatening to, well, they can fire me if they want. Someone's going to take him up on that at some point, right?
Listen, I don't blame him with these coaches getting fired, getting $50 million to go home. Why not?
Yeah, he might get 70. Yeah,
he might.
Well, these guys don't know his
buyout is, but it's not small.
I mean, would you hire this guy right now? Look at him. I don't know, man. I don't think I'd hire him to. Certainly not maybe he could be the greeter at Walmart. Look at that. Get in the store right now.
I don't know about that.
Get in the store. Come on. Dumbo. All right, Dumbo.
Well, Dumbo is number 3. I'm sorry, Dabo.
Oh, that's right. Thank you for correcting that.
And then we move on to number 2. We're going to stay in college football land, and we're going to go on to.
Oh yeah, my favorite. We don't have Sunbelt Billy to kick around anymore, so this is a guy.
I do love this photo.
This is a guy who's coached multiple teams. And just to give you a little background, Mario Cristobal, he coached, I believe he might have coached at Oregon.
Yeah.
And then about a couple of years ago, he was more than a couple. He started coaching at Miami, but in 2 separate instances, he's had games locked down. And I believe with basically you taking a knee, he's handed the ball off and their team has fumbled and the other team has found a way to win the game. It happened with Georgia Tech just, I think, 2 seasons ago. And he had a good team and they're running the clock out. And instead of doing what most teams do, which is take a knee, he thought it would be a good idea to let his quarterback hand the ball off. And in one of those cases, there was a fumble. And I think miraculously, and it was like no time left, and Georgia Tech found a way to score, a play or 2 later when they got the ball back.
Unbelievable.
And I think it's happened twice to him. People can look that up. I think it happened to him at Oregon. It definitely happened to him at Miami.
I looked up and saw the one at Miami, so I know it did there.
Yes. Well, he was not only that, he was set up last year to make the turn, get into the playoffs. And had a 21-0 lead against Syracuse. I was almost ready to turn the TV off, being a Syracuse fan. And that was a good year for the Cuse, right? They finished 10-3, but they were not doing well against Cam Ward in Miami. And Miami was just on their way to the playoffs. And I think they gave up something like 31 or 38 unanswered points. It was something ridiculous. Or outscored 38-7, and then it got close at the end. They lost the game. And he just finds a way to not get it done. Well, so now we go to this week, and we got SMU. SMU is formidable opponent. They stumbled through a game. They stumbled through a game and lost to Wake last week. The ACC always throws curveballs at you.
Yep.
But they were my pick to win the ACC, and they're still live after this week. SMU, that is. Was at the beginning of the year. I think I got 8.5 to 1, and it was a futures play we put up. And they looked pretty much dead after the Wake loss. They resurrected themselves this week by upsetting Miami 26-20 in overtime. Now, why is Mario our number 2 bonehead? Well, he's up 20-17. Okay. And he has the ball and they don't get a first down. It's like, he never seems to find a way to clinch a game. So now he's punting. SMU gets the ball, and they get to a spot where it's 4th and 9 on their own 48. As the time is going, if they get a stop, the game's over. SMU has to have a first down. And just before the snap, and you generally don't, unless you really see something, it's not great to let the other team who doesn't have timeouts determine what they're going to do. And they're hurrying, and they're snapping it. And just as they're ready to snap it, he decides it's a good idea to call a timeout. The play gets blown dead, but his defensive lineman goes in and mauls the quarterback for a 15-yard penalty on a dead ball foul. The play was done. The timeout had been called. There was confusion over in the player's mind. I don't think he thought there was a timeout. They later tried to represent that the player had not heard there was a timeout and that should not have been a personal foul. Anyway, he took a defenseless quarterback to the ground hard, 15-yard penalty. SMU gets now down into field goal range, converts a field goal. Game goes to overtime. And Cristobal's team gets stopped. It gets stopped on some bad play calling. And then SMU easily scores to win 26-20. A horrible loss. This team was, in some people's mind, the best team in the country. They've now lost to Louisville, and then this game to SMU. Not too bad, 2 pretty good teams, but like no longer is Miami credible, playoff team at that with that record in that league. They might get in, depending on whether they can win the ACC. But there's teams now that are as good or better than them in the ACC. So
absolutely.
Now they get Syracuse this week, who sadly, they'll probably beat about 50-0. But the way they're playing.
I would like Syracuse to win because I still have a very slim chance because I have a future with Syracuse over 5.5, and they need to get 3 more wins. I mean, they're not going to get there. I know that.
They're so bad, Scooter. I watched them last week and had to turn it off. They had a quarterback in there. They benched Rick Collins and put in somebody that was 4 for 18. And Fran Brown decided, let's just let this play out. I don't know what he's trying to prove, but
I mean, I know we're going on a tangent here with Syracuse, but it's unbelievable. They beat Clemson, which clearly Clemson's having a down year, and I get that. But they still beat Clemson. And since they've done that, they've gone 0-4.
Angelina getting hurt.
Since then. I know. Angela getting hurt killed them.
Or Angeli, rather, yeah.
But still, you go 0-4 since then.
Yeah. I know. It's rough to watch. I couldn't watch it. My brother was at that game, and Belichick, they just beat him like a drum. Bad team. All right.
Okay, so that's number 2. So who would be number 1 this week? Oh, I know. It would be our good pal and repeat offender, Mr.
LaFleur.
Cheerleader extraordinaire, Matt LaFleur.
He looks pretty good in sunglasses, and he's got a nice. I
think I got a good sunglasses because
he's a good hoodie. I like his beard and hoodie. I mean, he's looking good. The problem is he can't coach. The problem is this guy cannot coach. He can get the fans fired up in Green Bay when things are going well for his team, and he is really supposedly a decent quarterback coach. But I got to tell you, man, his decision making. We should put ourselves on here for losing 3 Circa survivors on this joker.
Yep.
He lost to Cleveland because he didn't have a kicker. He then lost that game to Dallas in that ridiculous.
Well, they tied, but.
They tied, but that eliminated a Circa entry. So he's 5-2-1, and his 2 losses and tie have eliminated 3 of our teams on different weeks, including this last week when he found a way to
double digit or above 7-point favors, 8-point favors, double digit favors, and he
double digit against the Browns and double digit against the Panthers, and 7 points against Dallas, who can't beat. They're a bad team. The Cowboys.
They're a bad team.
And I'm starting to wonder if Green Bay they might be a good team that just has a high school cheerleader as a coach. The guy is just ridiculous. So in any event, what did he do? Let's talk about what he did. Let's talk about what he did this week. They put him in here as the number 1 because we've trashed him because we're bitter, and we should be bitter.
We are bitter.
Yes. If we don't win the Circa Survivor, he should write us an $18 million check, this guy.
100%.
That's the way I think it's.
100%.
But what did he do this week? Well, his team kept getting down inside of scoring range, inside of the red zone. And there were multiple opportunities for him to get points. So in one particular situation, they were down 13-6 very early in the 4th quarter. And it's 4th and 8. And they were kind of stuck. Yeah, they were stuck in a bad spot. They needed to get to the 5 for a first down. And whatever play call he ran, he had Jordan Love just scrambling around in the back. Nothing was open. And he really should have thrown a pick 6. He just flung the ball up in the air, and the ball was dropped by the Panther. The Panther guy probably couldn't believe that it was thrown right to him. He had 100 yards of green grass in front of him. He didn't catch it, and the Packers miraculously were able to come back and get the tie. But the fact that he didn't kick that field goal with a full quarter left on a 4th and 8 when he really didn't have a good play call and didn't need to do that. It was a panic move. And that's what this guy does when things are good. No.
It really didn't. So, I mean, I understand analytics here and there.
Well, he admitted after that it was a mistake, right? But again, how do you not have yourself set up for what you're going to do? I also think, here's the other part. He burned a timeout on this. I feel like he burned a timeout. So he's going to go for it. Then he burns a timeout. He didn't have to play it.
So you assume when he calls the timeout, they're going to kick it, right? Because now they're thinking about it, and the offense still comes up.
Then come up with a play. Like it's that let me burn a timeout, have a bad play call, almost throw a pick 6, not get 3 points, and then admit later that I didn't do the right thing. Well, how many times are you going to have to make these mistakes before you learn something, Matt? Before you learn something, you're taking 3 of our teams out.
He
aggravated talking about it.
I don't understand. I don't understand the mindset when you call a timeout. You have now you're talking it over, and you still send the offense back out in the field. And again, you kick the field goal. That late field goal by Carolina ties the game.
Can we get this guy's picture off of it?
Sorry, we are not on the stage. All right, we're back. All right,
we don't need to talk. We don't need to talk about that guy anymore. He was done.
Well, we have the Worldwide Technology Championship. This is the first of the last 3 FedEx Cup fall tournaments. Quick reminder, the FedEx Cup fall allows players that are below the top 100 additional chances to get into the top 100 to secure their PGA Tour status for the 2026 season. The PGA Tour, in the infinite wisdom, trying to fix pace of play, thought rather than force guys to actually play faster, they would just have less guys on the course. I don't understand the logic there, but that's what they did. So they limited the tour status from the top 125 players down to the top 100. They cut the Korn Ferry Tour top 30, getting tour status to only the top 20. So this is the last or the first tournament of 3 that will earn you FedEx Cup fall points. So you don't have a lot of the top 50 guys because obviously the top 50 have already secured their place. Really, the top 70 have secured their place. Top 50 secured signature event status. But we do have 5 top 50 players in this tournament. They are Ben Griffin, Nick Taylor, JJ Spawn, Tom Hogue, and Jacob Bridgman. The only name I really don't remember too much is Jacob Bridgman. I couldn't believe he was a top 50. Some other notables in this tournament, though: Max Grazerman, Wyndham Clark, Matt Kuchar, Bo Hosler, Joel Damon, and I like him, is Brent Snedeker. I'm not betting on him this week, but I do like him.
Yeah, he's been a good golfer in the past, right? He's good for the tour. Yeah.
Let's see. Next slide. We have a couple of course stats and the weather. This is a Tiger Woods TGR designed course. It's just over 7,400 yards. It's a par 72. The weather looks phenomenal down in Cabo San Lucas. This tournament is in Mexico. It's in Cabo San Lucas at the let's see if I can get this name right. El Carnel at Diamante in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. The interesting about this this course, they've had this tournament there the last 2 years. There is no shot link data. So when I try to build my models to see who I'm going to bet on, I can't because there's no data on it. Shot link is not installed at the course. So all we have to go on is who's won the last 2 years. In 2024, it was minus 24 under par. And Austin Eckroat won it. Justin Lower came in second. And then you had Carson Young and Matt Treisman and Joe Highsmith round out the top 5. And then in 2023, it was 27 under, and that was by Eric Van Ruin. Camilo Villegas was 25. Kuchar, 25. Justin Sue was 24. And then Palmer and Putnam were 22 under. And then that little chart on the right there is David Lipsky is ranked 101. These are your top 11 that are currently out of getting their full tour status. So these guys have three tournaments left to try to get into that top 100. These is our betting tickets. So what I ended up doing, Tom, is I took since there's no shot link data.
You got a lot of action on these guys.
I do. So I built my model based on course fit. And put a ton of weight on course fit. I mean, I did a little bit on course history, but again, there's no shot link data. So what I did is I built my model that way, and then I took what the odds were implied from my model to what the odds were on DraftKings, and where I saw some value, whereas DraftKings was a little higher on the plus side than my model, I took those players. So I looked at the top 20 finishers. I got Takumi Kenya at plus 156, Nick Taylor plus 172, Kuchar at plus 189, and I threw Putnam. Putnam's probably the long shot there for top 20 because he's plus 242. And then I kind of just played around with the Mysticut with Rico Hui, who I like Rico Hui. I'm sure he'll make the cut, but I threw him on there. And Max McGreevy, again, just a chance on those two. But I got a boost on JJ Spawn for first round leader up to 2,500. So I threw that in there.
That's nice. Yeah, that's a good boost. Definitely.
So and then you have a couple.
Yeah, so actually, Gracerman is not a top 5, so that's a typo. Gracerman is 20-1 to win the tournament. Justin Lauer,
that's on me.
Justin Lauer is 14-1 as a top 5. So Lauer's 14-1 is top 5. I think he's about 110-1 to win. I decided to go top 5 on Lauer. Lauer finished, like you just posted, second last year.
Yep, he did.
He was third in the Bank of Utah championship, just very recently. And so the fact that he's played well recently, he's also played well in Mexico, and he was second last year. I think he had some other success in Mexico. I said, look, you give me a top 5 on this guy at 14-1. He's also 109th, so he's battling to get into that top 100. So I kind of liked what I saw with him, but rather than have him win, I said, let me take some good odds on him to get top 5. So that's what I did with Justin Lauer. Gracerman has been so close, right? I remember the one I didn't hedge last year. You might remember that. And that really resulted in, a hardship loss because I was at a function. And I still remember not being able to cash on him there. He's been close to winning a tournament, on both the Corn Ferry Tour, I think 3 times, and he was second, and then the actual tour last year. So I think this is a good opportunity for him. I took him at 20-1 to win it, and it's more of I'm going to keep going after this guy a little bit until maybe I think the course fits pretty good for him, and he's one of the top golfers in this group. So anyway, not too much more to say about the golf tournament here, other than I think it's good that we're starting to get ourselves back into handicapping these. I will make a quick comment. One of my best sources is the Vegas Stats and Information Network, and Wes Reynolds is an awesome golf handicapper, and he oftentimes will write articles on the various tournaments, or they have. Themselves, they have a nice podcast where they once the season gets going, they don't do it during these off season like this, but there is a lot of good sources out there. And then as Scooter does, modeling is another way to get there, right? You actually can buy the data and build your own models. And that's going to be something I get into, and Scott does, pretty regularly now. And that's how he comes up with some of his picks. So I think that's it for the golf tournament.
Those are our worldwide technology bets. And in case you guys noticed me going off camera, I just had a little bloody nose that I had to take care of. But we are back, and we're going to pivot onto our college football picks for week 11. I'll start us off since I have them up here. Coastal, I have -7.5 over Georgia. Georgia State, again, we're going back to the Sun Belt. Georgia State heads to Conway to take on Coastal and the Chanticleers. Obviously, they're laying 7.5. Georgia State's defense has really been the absolute disaster. They're giving up over 40 points per game, ranking near the bottom nationally in total defense. Again, Coastal is definitely not lighting up any scoreboards, but they've been pretty consistent. They've been disciplined this year. They definitely have the better defensive unit by a mile. I'll take home field at Brooks Stadium. And in case you didn't know, at Brooks Stadium, you get free concessions for free hot dogs, free popcorn, free pretzels, free drinks. And my daughter, who goes to Coastal, loves all the free. She apparently at the last home game had 5 hot dogs. I thought it was a little excessive, but that's what she told me.
That sounds awful, Scooter.
Sounds awful. Sounds horrible. But I'll add the home field edge at Brook Stadium, and I will feel comfortable laying the 7.5. I kind of have a predicted score of like Coastal, probably in the low 30s, and Georgia State probably in the mid to upper teens. They may get to 20. I don't think they'll get much over that. So I will take Coastal, and I will lay the 7.5 gladly. This one's a little bit of a flyer. I could see this getting a little dicey, but I do like Duke laying the 9.5 over UConn. Duke had a nice win last week.
Over Dabo,
obviously over Dabo or Dumbo over Clemson. So I mean, could there be a letdown? There always could, but I will lay the 9.5 as again Duke's offense is averaging more than 35 points per game behind their quarterback. He's thrown over 2,500 yards, 21 touchdowns. However, UConn, they've been scrappy. They've been in games a lot more than I would have thought for them. But their secondary's just been gashed this year. And I think with Duke's passing attack and matching up with UConn's secondary, I will lay the 9.5. And I kind of have, again, to me, I really see this being a 2-score to like 14-point to 17-point game. So I will lay the 9.5, and I will take the Blue Devils to cover. And then going back to La Tech, man. La Tech's
our favorites. We love them.
They're our favorites, and they've been very good to me. So we're going to head out to Newark, Delaware with the Blue Hens. Good old John LaBianca's alma mater. And then I got his chalice here. Sadly, though, I am not taking the Blue Hens. I think they're still trying to get their footing in the FBS. They've got a tough one with La Tech 2 coming to town. I'm a little surprised it's only 6 points, but I will lay the 6 points. Bulldogs defense has been legit all year. They're giving up under 20 points a game. They've gone toe-to-toe with Western Kentucky, losing by just 1. Delaware, same opponent, lost by 3. Gave up nearly 60, though, to Liberty, which is a bunch of points to Liberty. So I will take La Tech's balance on both sides of the ball, give them the edge here. I like Louisiana Tech around 30 points and Delaware around 20, so I will lay the 6, and I will take La Tech. So that's what I got.
Yeah, I mean, I think I actually like all of those picks. The one pick that of the 3 that gives me a little bit of concern is I've messed with UConn where I actually laid points against Delaware way back earlier on this podcast.
Yeah, I remember that.
And Delaware beat them. And so that's sort of a little bit of a point. Syracuse beat UConn early. Like UConn has had some struggles. But I feel like the Duke thing is a tough one because every time you think they kind of have it going, they seem to disappoint, right? They lost down in Tulane. They're in that letdown spot after the great win. The other side of it is they're on a trajectory. They're starting to play better football, and there's no reason for them to let up after beating Clemson. And they should go up there and be focused on this game and not let it be a trap game. That's always the concern because I think
that's the concern for me as well.
Right? Yeah.
And again, I need 2 more wins and I get my future because I have them over 6.5, and right now they're sitting at 5. So
yeah, and they should have a lot more. They should have more than that, to be honest.
They should,
yeah.
But they should be able. Again, they take care of UConn. They should get to 7 wins and win my future bet as well. But I do like them here. I am worried about it being a trap game though.
Right. And I've got La Tech over 5.5. That was one of my top plays. And if they win this game, they get to 6.
Yeah.
So I'll be with you on that for a little bit different reason. On the Jones picks, okay, so I'm going to start with a total, which is the second one. UNLV, Colorado State over 61.5. I have sworn off betting overs on games north of 60, and apparently I don't really believe it because
apparently
this will be the third. This will be the third or fourth time,
right?
Yeah. And I've gotten burned, but UNLV goes over every single game they play in. They have no defense whatsoever. I think they opened the season against like Sam Houston State, who hasn't won a game, and they wound up struggling in that game before beating them and gave up a bunch of points. And every week it's the same thing. They win a lot of games, but they really need to score to win. And I don't think this game's going to be any exception, right? Colorado State is the host team, not a great offensive team, but UNLV just gets torched on defense. They pass for a ton of yards. they play a pretty fast game, and I'm struggling to see how they don't get to 62 points. So I looked at it and I kept in it. The projected box score would say they're going to be 65 to 70. I wouldn't be surprised if it's north of 70. So anyway, I took the over 61.5 here.
I might throw some money on that.
I mean, that just felt like I don't really like a lot of totals on this podcast, but this is one I decided to go after. Now the two around it, Missouri. I'm waiting for Texas A&M. People were complaining that they weren't number one this week. I don't know quite how you. Yeah, I don't know how you get there comparing that team to the way Ohio State has played.
Yeah,
I think that they beat Notre Dame, but they basically they're very easy. They really shouldn't have won that game. And I feel like Texas A&M, while they've had a tough schedule, Missouri's a good football team. And I understand that the quarterback situation is tenuous here, but they have been good all year. I actually put them, and I think we posted it, that to win the SEC at 22-1. I don't know if they have much of a shot at that now, but they have basically been in every single game that they've lost. Mm-hmm. And there's only a couple that they've lost, and they're in their home. And I think this is where they shine, and they give Texas A&M their comeuppance this week. And we're going to give me almost a touchdown at home against a team I think is just raw to get picked off here. The other game is a little bit of an off game, right? We went last week. I know you had Army over Air Force. Air Force obviously doesn't have much of a defense. Last week it was a game where you've got two services playing each other, and it was a lower scoring game because there's a lot of running and they know how to defend each other.
I think Army passed the ball 9 times.
Yeah, they don't. They just keep run.
It was just run.
Now, Air Force will pass the ball, but San Jose State is a very good passing team. They're projected to outgain Air Force by a large margin. Air Force has no pass defense. They've given up tons of points in almost every game they've played. And the San Jose coach used to be at Navy, so he's going to know how to defend the option. So all of that stuff together gives me confidence here. And San Jose State had a nice win last week over Hawaii, who's been playing well. I considered Hawaii this week, didn't take them, but I took them in the double dog money line barking parlay. And the reason I've got them is they're home. The San Diego State team has been really good to you, Scooter, all year. You've bet them multiple times. They've come through multiple times. I still am not convinced that they're as dominant as being. They're a 7-point favorite. What makes this powerful parlay is it's 17-1. And I'm taking a Penn State team that's been beleaguered. They fired their coach. And I know that everybody wants to shit on Indiana every week. I'm probably one of those people that just, I got to keep seeing them win to believe it. And apparently I haven't believed it yet. I know. It's like Indiana Jones.
Well, it's plus 1724 for a reason, right?
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
A reason.
And by the way, these are two home teams. Penn State is home.
Yeah, I know.
And Hawaii is home. And you're going to give me two tough home teams. And again, I know Penn State is just not delivered. But I have a feeling that Indiana is still going to be up for a fall at some point. I really do.
The only thing I'm gonna say, and I'm not saying to change your double dog money line. I think Indiana has a really, really big chip on their shoulder. I think that coach is laying into his team, and that's why I have no problem betting them with these large spreads.
Yeah, you've been successful, and yes, I know.
I do think they're trying to make a point, and that's why I don't. I think they're gonna stomp on Penn State because I think Penn State has stomped on them so many times that I think they're gonna get their comeuppance.
And we'll see. We'll see.
I like the Hawaii over San Diego, though. I do like.
By the way, this is like you said. It's you don't have to bet very much money to have it be a nice night, right?
No.
So.
This is a quarter of a unit at most.
Oh, at best. Yeah, at best.
And again, I think what's interesting with the line on San Diego State is this one, like you said, they're laying 7 on this game. I think
Hawaii.
the books
in Hawaii.
You're right. I think the books are finally starting to price San Diego State a little better, a little more accurate. But I do actually, and I was very close to picking Hawaii. I think I even texted you saying I was looking at Hawaii. A couple of my models that I've used and in my research, I kind of had Hawaii, this being a pretty close game, 3 points either way. So I kind of do like Hawaii.
Could that become a Westgate pick? Perhaps it could, right?
It could. I have some other ones. Again, because I do like San Diego State, I'm still a little tentative to
go against them. Yeah,
to go against them. But it could be. It's on my list.
It could be a layoff. It could be a layoff game. Just lay off the game. Yeah.
But it is on my list. Okay, so those are our college picks. Let's move over to the pro side. So let's talk Indiana Jones. Yep, I'm still calling them Indiana Jones, Tom. So I didn't want to take the Colts in this game, but I really do like the over because I still see the Colts putting up 30 some odd points in this game against the Falcons. And if Penix can if they can somehow get the offense a little squared away, I think this goes over, hopefully comfortably. So I didn't take the Colts, but I took the over with the Falcons at the Colts. We kind of go opposite on Ravens and Vikings here, which I thought was interesting. I got at 3.5 on DraftKings, but you got a little better for you at MGM. So
yes,
so it's kind of interesting there. But I actually think the Ravens go on a run here, and they're going to start this week with the Vikings. I think they're going to make a big playoff push. Obviously, they're 3-5 right now. So they have to, but I like Lamar in this position. I do like, I will lay the 3.5 and I'll take the Ravens to kind of dominate the Vikings here. I have very little faith in JJ McCarthy. And ironically, we both have the Bucks over the Pats. I just think this is a bad spot for the Patriots. I think the Bucks at home will take care of them and win this game. Again, you never know with Baker Mayfield. It could be a 3-point game at the end, but I still
would
like
be fine.
Here.
3 points
again,
fine. Right,
100% fine. And listen, all my teasers, I keep getting burned on them, so I just kind of did a fun little money line parlay here. I took the Browns over the Jets with the Jets. I'm sure you've heard with them trading away Gardner and Williams this week, which they got a boatload in return. So I think they are great moves. I will take the Browns over them kind of easily. And I like the Texans here over the Jags. I like the position they're in. The Jags, I don't know what they are. I don't know how they've won as many games as they had. I think they're like a magician on the field here. Some days they show up, some days they don't. I don't know what they're doing. But I like the Texans here, and I'll take them.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing with the Texans is Stroud's in concussion protocol. So there's a little bit of that. And this seems like the year where the Jags are getting the close wins, right? They beat the Chiefs on that stumble down play. They got the win over Vegas last week. I had them over 8.5 wins, so I'm happy to see them keep piling wins up. But I do think that I've been on the Texans in these light lines at home because they have to keep winning. And they had the tough loss to Denver last week. So I think it's sort of that looks like a nice solid 2.35 money.
Yeah.
What you're trying to get, right?
Just a little.
Yeah. I think you already talked about the Vikings. So I'm always a little bit confused by this team because I thought last week Detroit would they were off a bye and I thought they would kind of run away with that game over Minnesota.
I did too.
They really did, right?
No, they killed all my bets.
I'm starting to think that one of the things that was happening when McCarthy was hurt is he was working with O'Connell because O'Connell's a master at making these guys good quarterbacks. That's why Darnold's good. That's why Indiana Jones might be good because he was on the practice squad. I think anytime that he touches a quarterback, eventually they turn out to be good quarterbacks. So I was surprised how good McCarthy was last week. It's almost like while he was sort of in that injury protocol, there was something that clicked. And I think the Ravens have found ways throughout the years to not win games they should win. Now, I know that they can't afford that right now right? They've come down. They've got the extra rest after the Thursday night win over Miami. They basically have won 2 in a row. Pittsburgh put a little bit of a crimp in their progress by winning last week again, in a game that you wouldn't necessarily not have thought they were going to win against the Colts. And now they got another game against the Chargers. But for some reason, the 4 points caught my eye on this. And I think Minnesota could lose this game. They play in a lot of tight games. They're home. They're riding a little bit high after last week's nice win. But I don't think it's the type of game where it's a letdown because you're going from one really good team to another good team. So, and I do think the 4 versus a 3.5 mattered to me here. That was really what won me over on it, because I do think that this is going to be a tight game, and that's why I tipped the points. Steelers, I think the Chargers offensive line is so banged up. Alt's out for the season. They've got 2 guys that are now kind of in that offensive line. Herbert's not a mobile quarterback. He's a pocket quarterback. And the Steelers seem to be, I think for whatever reason, they've figured out how to keep finding ways to win games. Even though they had the hiccup against Green Bay, they really should have beat Green Bay. They had a nice lead, and they just kind of let up in the second half. So
they should have.
I like them going out west. I mean, Tomlin does well as an underdog. I'm going to take those 3 points. But mostly this is a Charger picking against the Chargers versus for the Steelers. And then you talked about the Bucs. There's something about New England's run. I think it's legitimate. I think Drake May's legitimate. Mm-hmm. But I think they're going to run into a game here where they suddenly are not just going to they kind of got lucky against Atlanta last week. They keep winning these tight games. Plus they've sprinkled in some impressive wins like beating Tennessee by 20 points. But again, a very good team.
But it's not a good team.
Yeah. Right. So I kind of feel like that the Bucs are going to be off the bye, ready to go here, and you're inside a field goal. So those are the reasons for those 3. And then this double dog, again, going against the Colts. I just think the Colts are going to continue to find ways to not be as good as everyone thinks. Atlanta is an inconsistent team, so I like throwing them in when they're not expected to win. And this is just an anti-Packer play. I'm just tired of the Packers. I mean, the Eagles are an underdog, right? Super Bowl champs, an underdog against a team that's poorly coached. I'm sure the Packers will find a way to win this game based on
the fact that you're taking the Eagles.
Yes, right.
Yeah, because they're dead to us. I agree with the Eagles over the Packers there. And I'm not really opposed to Falcons over the Colts. I do think I could see the Colts having a letdown here after last week, and it could kind of steamroll into a second week. But again,
that's why you went over. That's why you took the over. I like that bet, by the way. I might follow you on that one. I like that number. I missed the fact that was only 48.5. It might not last.
That it was 48.5. It
might be gone. Yeah.
All right, so those are our NFL picks. Let's look at how we did last week. It's not very impressive, sadly.
No.
There it is. Sorry about that. Okay, there's our results from last week. Again, on the college side, I was 2 for 2 because I finally got an extra pick in there to match
2
up.
and 2, not 2 for 2. 2 and 2.
Yeah, 2 wins, 2 losses.
You're right.
And then on the pro side, I went 1 and 2. Tom sadly went 1 and 2 on the college and 1 and 2 on the pro.
And by the way, let's just talk about the parlays for a minute. I'm done with Colorado forever and ever. And Dion, right?
I was surprised you took it.
NC State was a perfect play.
That was great. That was a great play.
Yeah, and I wound up going alone on that money line as well, but didn't represent it on this podcast. And then in the double dog parlay, the Steelers win, the Bengals, my God, losing, coming back and taking a 42-41 lead and still finding a way to lose. Or Joe Flacco passing for 470 yards and finding a way to, his team finding a way to still let him down. It was unbelievable. But if the Bengals had held on, that would have offset all these other issues on here, which were, Jerry Jones and bragging about his trade and can't beat the Cardinals. Just shut up, Jerry, for now. Just shut up.
So let's look at where we're standing.
You think Jerry listens to this podcast, by the way? I think
he should.
Yeah.
I mean, gee, everyone should. We give out so much great information. I don't understand it. Everyone should be watching. So, and here we are. We're tied, man. Overall, we're 29 and 26.
26.
We just got there.
That's not a bad record,
ways.
Actually. It could be better, but we
just got there different ways. I can't pick the pro side. You're having trouble with the college side. 15 and 6. You're 18.
Well, we know how good you are in college. Just look at the Westgate standings.
Which is ironic, right? That's better than I am here. But now normally I do these 3 games before I really dig into what I'm doing in the Westgate.
Well, and I remember too that you're picking out of 7. 4 out of 7 is good in that. Here you got to get 2 out of 3 to feel good about your week, right?
Yeah.
So it is different.
So that's where we stand there. Let's see what's next. Ready for college?
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about it. So I've started to look over the college basketball. It's a pretty long process to try to, and my favorite thing to do is to just throw some futures down early. You're betting the game day to day is fun, right? But like, who looks like they could be good, and you're not going to get these value plays later. So this Arkansas 27-1, I actually had gotten that at 35-1. And by the time I actually was able to put it on this podcast, it had dropped to 27. I still think it's a good value. So that's what's official, is that, 27-1. You can still get that number. The Michigan one was put up last week at 20-1. I don't think you can get it anymore. I'm seeing 17-19. It's supposed to be a very talented team. It's a turnover team. But I don't know that you can find 20. But I just wanted to that's what we published last week. Now, what's new here is right before Arizona played Florida, I put this NCAA Arizona to win the NCAA at 35-1. Sadly, that number's imploded. So I don't think you can find a great value on Arizona for the NCAA. However, you can still get them to win the Big 12 at 8-1. I found it at 9-1 on FanDuel. I think it might have dropped to 8-1. Again, beating Florida and looking as impressive as they did and seeing how talented they are, I would say the play on here is find that 8-1 on Arizona to win the Big 12. And I think you got a shot to maybe have a nice ticket in your pocket. Houston is obviously the favorite. They're like 1.5-1, and they're going to be very, very good. But this Arizona team is impressive. And so that my suggestion is take them to win the conference at 8-1, and look around. Maybe you can find 9-1 on one of your accounts. And then these other ones, going down to the Memphis one for a minute, right? We've had them in football. I bet them a lot in basketball. They're turned their team over, but Penny Hardaway has 5 4-star recruits, I think, coming in.
He
plays a fast, undisciplined game, but they win their conference, and then they find their way into the tournament. And sadly, I mean, one year they had Florida Atlantic dead to rights in the first round. Florida Atlantic went all the way to the Final Four that year. They are a team that is very dangerous, and 250-1. Give me a little bit of money on them at 250-1 to win it. That may not last. They're in a tough tournament. I think Purdue and a couple other teams in Memphis are playing. If they do well in that tournament, this 250-1 won't be there. If they take a while to get acclimated, they might even get 300 or 400-1, and then later on they could become very, very solid. And then Grand Canyon, they actually joined the Mountain West this year. So the previous conference, I think it was the West. One of the West conferences they were in, they were always a team that would win that conference. They've been in the NCAA tournament for a couple of years, very well coached, and now they've joined the Mountain West, and I think they're basically maybe the 3rd or 4th favorite. I found them at 10-1. They're coming in. Nobody knows much about them, but they have, from what I've read, they've got a decent amount of talent. And then the last one is Bethune-Cooked from the SWAC.
Not for nothing. If you're digging deep into the SWAC, you might have a problem, Tom. I'm just saying.
So let me explain why I did that. They played Auburn a couple of nights ago. So what I was doing is scanning down. The Auburn basically struggled to beat them, and Auburn's one of the top SEC teams.
Yeah.
Now they've turned their team over. So then I started. That's prompted me to research this team in particular, and they've got a transfer in from New Mexico State. The guy's name is Dr. Bradley, which is a great name. And he was, I think, in that particular conference last year, he was one of the star players. I think he didn't even play in this game against Auburn. So I started to look a little bit more into this, and I said, he almost giving me 5-1 for them to win an off conference like this. So I grabbed them. And it was basically based on looking at their roster, looking at how they did against Auburn, and seeing that what could be their best player wasn't even on the floor. And so, again, it's one game, but it was against a top SEC team. Now, some nights you just catch a team like this
Absolutely.
in a spot, but they're not in a conference that's loaded with a lot of talent. And so, again, that prompted me to dig into that particular team as opposed to me digging deep into the SWAC conference until I saw,
some value.
So,
okay. Yeah. So you're not quite as degenerate as I thought.
Yeah, maybe degenerate, but not quite as bad as you might have thought, where I'm reviewing every SWAC team. I'll leave that to Greg Peterson out at VSiN. He'll tell you every player on every one of these teams, but
yeah, he's impressive.
Yeah, he is. He doesn't always pick a lot of winners, but he just knows his material so well.
Yeah.
And I think his record is good, but like for what he knows, like knowing a lot versus like trying to find value is sometimes they're two different. They're two different things, right? So.
Yep. All right.
So run out and put your whole bank account on Bethune-Cooked. Don't do that.
Bethune-Cooked. No, do it. What could go wrong? All right. Those are some future and some add-ons for the college hoop season. So please follow along. And again, please, if you make any bets, throw them in the comment section. We would love to know. We would love to have shout-outs for your bets and follow along with you. The last thing we have to discuss tonight, we've been doing the overreactions and the takeaways from the pro football season. So we're just about at the halfway point. Some teams have played 9 games, but pretty much at least all the teams have now played 8. So I wanted to take a look at some of the standings and where we are with that and kind of see who's still breathing, who's still got a shot here. So all these teams are out of the playoffs as of today. They are 9th and below. So we look at the AFC side. Obviously, these are all 9th, tied for 9th place in the conference. They're all 3-5. I mean, Cincinnati, I think they're barely breathing. I think they're gonna. I don't see how they're gonna get into the 8th spot, but Flacco stays healthy somehow and gives them a couple of wins, and that defense does something to stop a team. Maybe they can sneak in, but I don't like
Scooter. They're only 2 games behind Pittsburgh. I think that
I know,
the other angle
but
is
it could be a mile.
Yeah.
But let's be honest. If they're playing Pittsburgh on any Sunday, Pittsburgh's the overwhelming favorite. Then you have Baltimore.
Remember, they already beat Pittsburgh though on that Thursday night game. So they've got that. I mean, I'm not promoting Cincinnati here. They've got no defensive players at all.
Yeah.
But
I think Baltimore gets there. I think Baltimore makes the playoffs. Baltimore's winning the next 4 games. Mark my word.
So, yeah, you've already given them the Viking game, as could be told on your picks. I'm not quite there for that yet. So
again, they can beat the Vikings, and you can still win.
Yeah, I feel like the Vikings showed something last week that I need to see a little bit more. But I'm just wondering if somehow O'Connell has sort of turned on something, and we're going to find out because that's an intriguing game. Yes.
And Houston, I really don't see Houston getting there. I think Ryans is not a good enough coach to get them over.
He could have been on the bonehead again. That guy just doesn't make the right decisions, and he's overrated as a coach. There's no doubt.
I completely agree. So on the AFC side, if I had to place money on who would make the playoffs, it would be Baltimore over Houston and Cincinnati.
Now you're projecting these teams. Do you realize right now, though, if you were to go through the records, right, the Bills and Patriots would be in, right? Pittsburgh would be in.
Yeah.
The Colts would be in. The Jaguars would be in at 5-3. Denver and the Chargers. The Chiefs at 5-4 would not make it, which puts these 3 and 5 teams really needing to win their division to get in. And the Texans have no chance to win the division against the Colts, who are, 6-2.
Yeah.
Or 7-2, right?
7-2. Yeah, they haven't had a bye yet. They're 7-2.
So the Texans are probably going to have to slide in through a wild card, which just seems very, very difficult for them at this point. But
I agree.
Yeah.
And then on the NFC side, I don't have the Dallas Cowboys with the tie, but technically they're 3-5-1. Again, I think Atlanta, Arizona, and Dallas, they're all looking out. They're not getting in. I know Dallas made some moves this week, trying to strengthen that defense somehow. I mean, they have to do something. That defense is horrific. But I don't see them getting there. Arizona, again, who's the better quarterback, right? Is it going to be Kyler Murray or
Brissett? Yeah.
Brissett. And Brissett played great the other night.
He did. This is a big game for them. If they can beat Seattle this week, which I'm not sure they can. That's how they win. But again, you got the Rams and 40. There's so many good teams in that division. They'd have to slip in through some sort of wild card.
100%. Thing. They're not getting the division. And Rams are getting the division.
Right. And with 3 wild card teams, right, suppose San Francisco, Seattle, and the Rams all get in, you've got that extra wild card team. And you would think it would be like Green Bay and Detroit, but one of those teams could stub their toe, right? So it kind of does create. I think Minnesota's got the best chance of anyone on there, and Carolina is dangerous at 5-4, right? I mean, they could go. I can't lie.
When I was putting this slide together, I was utterly shocked that Carolina had a winning record.
I know.
I actually couldn't believe it.
Well, Matt LaFleur, we can thank Matt LaFleur for that, right?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
But yeah, on the NFC side, I would give Minnesota the best chance on that side. Unless the moves Dallas made and their defense all of a sudden starts doing something, I don't buy them. And Atlanta, I think Atlanta's going to be fine. They're going to upset some teams that they probably shouldn't, but at the end of the day, they're just not good enough to get there.
They're too inconsistent, right?
They're way too inconsistent. They laid a dud 2 weeks ago. When they were playing the Patriots. I mean, that game was
horrible. The Patriot game was 24-23, but they had
what was the game before?
It was Miami. Miami's the one you're thinking of. Yeah,
Miami. I'm sorry. What was that? 31-3 at by the end of the third quarter.
Yeah, it was bad. It knocked out a lot of circus survivors. Luckily, that wasn't us in that particular week, but
not that week. So again, just a little change of pace from the overreactions and some takeaways. But again, I think at the end of the day, you and I both kind of agree that the only 2 teams that are really breathing still are Baltimore and Minnesota.
And they play each other this week.
And they play each other this week. So
I'm still putting the Bengals on life. I'm putting the Bengals on. You know what? It's just so hard when you can't stop anybody, though. You can't outscore people 45-42 every week. You just can't. So,
and even sometimes when you try, you still lose.
Yeah.
You know. All right, that is episode 20. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you made it to the end. It was a long episode. Hopefully I do well in my tournament this weekend.
Yeah, good luck, Scooter, with that. Good luck
with the Bryan brothers. Episode 3 of the Internet Invitational has dropped. Another 2.5-hour episode. It's really great. Hope everyone's watching it. Follow us on Instagram for our picks. Jonesy, have a nice. Oh, you know what? Have a nice restful week. Keep PT going well. Hope the leg is healing well. And we will see you all next week. See ya.